Hello, it's Sunday, August 14th. Evan and I are getting back on trail. We originally had plans of coming into Cascade Locks on Thursday, which we were able to stick to those plans and leaving on Friday. But we did decide as we were coming in that we could use an extra day of rest. We ended up taking 1 0 day. But I have some sort of injury to my left leg. After some research, I think it's a tendonitis. So we ended up taking 2 0 days, which I wasn't particularly happy about, but we felt it was necessary and probably the smartest move. So we're back on trail today, well rested. Good morning, it's August 15th, technically day 27 of our hike. So we took those 2 0s in town to rest and recover. Things felt pretty good yesterday for my leg, actually. Must have been someone who loved this spot on the lake. Now this is a wholly new architectural style of pit toilet I have not ever seen. Fairly decrepit, but still functional. Apparently Bull Run, which is a lake in this area, is one of the reservoirs and one of Portland's public water sources. So they don't want you camping or leaving the trail. This is awesome. The trail's not marked nearly as frequently as the AT with the white blazes, but they do have these emblems kind of like embedded or nailed in the trees, and this is by far the oldest one I've seen. I just wanted to say it feels awesome, and hopefully I'm not shooting myself in the foot here, but it feels great to be walking relatively painlessly compared to the days before Cascade Locks. So I think, as I mentioned, it's a fragile thing hiking over this long of a distance. So all in all, most days I really enjoy myself out here. I like doing this. I found my peace with it, and I think there's a lot to gain and benefit from these hikes that you might not see when you just take a superficial glance at it. But back to enjoying it again. Those 2 days were not enjoyable. It's a beautiful trail here in Oregon. I'm just reminded of one of the benefits I think of through hiking. We're doing any sort of long distance hiking is it's a great practice in self-motivation. And no one's out here forcing you or pushing you to do this. And the reality of every day is that it's certainly a grind to some degree. I've found that I enjoy the daily physical challenge of it. And I've done enough of it, and it's twisted my brain around it enough to feel motivated to do it. And in a way, I think it's a great parallel to daily life there. I'm not saying it's easy to get up and go to your 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, but there's an artificial motivator there. It's money, it's salary, social expectation. I think outside of that system, some of us struggle with self-motivation. And that's one of the beauties of doing something like this. You're stripped clean of all those extrinsic ties to you, pulling you in multiple different directions. It's just you. So you learn a lot about yourself, what you're capable of, how your mind functions in a bubble, if you will. So happy to be back to having some clarity of mind, clarity of thought out here, rather than just thinking about pain with every step. But that's part of it. And as with any other experience out here, it all just lends to the perspective that this gives you. So yes, happy to be just here in Oregon and living life. Nice view of Mount Hood this morning. There's multiple ski resorts on Mount Hood. The one that we're going to go right to on the trail is called Timberline. It's where civilization meets nature. Good morning. It's Tuesday, August 16th. Em and I are leaving camp around 6:30. We're excited because we're going to a all-you-can-eat lunch buffet at Timberline Lodge, which is a pretty cool place. It's a historic lodge. I think it was built in 1936, and it's a really cool looking in pictures at least, so we're excited to see it in person. But to get there, have about 10 miles, 3,000 feet of climbing. So some work this morning. Forgot to mention last night in camp, a kind hiker, trail angel, he called himself Fuzz Was, a goofy trail name, gave us some chicken tenders for dinner, which is a delicacy on trail. He had made them that day and individually packaged them to give away to some hungry hikers. So we were lucky. It's hard to see from here, but as a skier, this is kind of amazing because there's actually lifts right up below the summit that take you almost entirely, well, not quite entirely to the top, but just below those cornices, like right in that area. So awesome. The trail's all sand here in places, so it's pretty much going like for an uphill walk on the beach. Shout out to the ski crew here. there's still a lift running, and this big patch of snow down or up here below the peak, they're still getting turns on in mid-August. That makes me incredibly jealous, but gets me pumped for winter. Winter's coming. Like a castle inside. This is the Timberline Lodge. Going in for the lunch buffet. Hopefully we can put a hurting on it. Smokey's a skier. The inside of this lodge is unbelievable. Amazing architecture. This is pretty fancy. Quite the contrast between this venue and just here having a romantic hiker dinner with my buddy. This is a good day, let me tell you. This is just plate number 1. So cool history I just read about inside. Teddy Roosevelt actually commissioned this lodge to be built. And it was built between 1935 and 1937 by a joint effort of the Civilian Conservation Corps and local builders. It's an epic perspective of this glacial valley, eroded, I'm sure, through the years by receding, growing glaciers season after season here below Mount Hood. Just finishing up our nightly routine here. It might be filthy and smelly, but we do still care about our oral hygiene. I even have floss picks along. Now I will say that these have gotten reused many times, but they're better than no floss. It's weird to be starting our morning with a digital screen in our view, crossing an Oregon highway here. I don't know which one it is, 24 or 23, but we camped not terribly far from the highway. We could actually hear the traffic all night, so a little annoying, but today we're going about 28 miles. Oregon really has some exceptionally pretty stretches of forest, complete with big trees and pine needle cushion trail. It's very peaceful here. So here's how we filter our water out here. This bottle's seen its better days. We've had this since the start, but there's a cold spring right here. We fill up our bottles and then we use pressure to put it through the Sawyer filter. So my system is a dirty bottle. So this this only ever gets dirty water put into it, and then I filter from the dirty bottle into my clean bottle, which only ever has clean water in it. This gorgeous deep blue little pond is called Little Crater Lake. So it can't be more than 60 feet wide, but it's 45 feet deep. This is the first lake swim that hasn't been ice cold. Enjoying this. So less than 2 miles to go today to wrap up the day at about 32 miles. So it was a kind of a changing the guard kind of day, meaning we went from seeing, 50 plus to sometimes 100 northbound hikers a day over the past probably a week and a half to 2 weeks to today, maybe 3 or 4. So, and part of that is because when they were skipping, the northbounders were skipping forward to avoid the Oregon fire closures, most of them came to Timberline Lodge, where we were yesterday, and continued from there. There's also a Trail Days event going on in Cascade Locks, so a lot of the PCTers want to be there. But all that to say is, we suddenly seem to have this trail a lot more to ourselves. It's getting some water from this little spring here. I noticed this guy. Hello, hello. It is August 18th, the 30th day of our hike. Wow, that we're going on that month mark. This morning we have a little less than 9 miles to go to Olali Lake Resort, which was previously the northern end of an almost 2-year fire closure. Made it to Olali Lake, which has an unreal view of Mount Jefferson. If we had more time and we're staying here, I would gladly go out of one of those little paddle boats. And there's a tiny little resort store right here. Resort. And I'm gonna go see what kind of good stuff I can find. Showing a little midday break here. Great views, good cider. And the owner of Olali Lake told us that a couple of northbound hikers actually talked to a forest ranger who told them the closure is now open. He said if anyone gives you problems, just tell him John Peterson said that the trail is open now. So we have a name. Really barren, kind of wild, otherworldly landscape here in this area they call Jefferson Park, below Mount Jefferson. Just piles of scree and glacial rock churned up everywhere. Just got to the top of Jefferson Park and rewarded with amazing view of Mount Jefferson. Hopefully if we find some of that good glacier water again. Here we have just a gorgeous field of purple, and the bees are just buzzing in here. It's some of the cleanest, clearest, and coldest weather we've had since Washington. So good. Apart from the giant mountain, this section really reminds me of a bigger version of Dolly Sods in West Virginia. So it's just interesting how you can have these small little micro environments in completely different parts of the world and country. So we might have a bit of a creek float ahead. You can see some pretty large cascading rapids coming down off the top of the glacier below Mount Jefferson Peak. It's sad to see nothing where there was once beautiful forest because of this fire, but the only silver lining I can take from it now is that There's quite the view from here. I kind of like cloudy day views, cast things in a different light. Out here you really come to appreciate the little things, and it's hard for me to describe exactly how amazing seeing something like this is, but I wasn't fully convinced that this spring was still running according to the comments in our guide. And I get here and it's beautiful, nice cold clear water, and a convenient place to filter. It is the simple things. It's about 8:30 and a little nippy still, so a bit too early for a swim, but it's a beautiful small lake called Shale Lake with an amazing view of Mount Jefferson and that signature deep turquoise blue glow with a nice reflection. It's about 8:45. Great views on top of the ridge this morning. It's day 31, so officially 1 month on trail. Last night I slept at a tent site about 28 miles in for the day. Evan didn't make it there last night, but that was a possible part of the plan. He knows that we're shooting for the Big Lake Youth Resort either tomorrow or late today. My plan is to go about 31 today to a popular car camping, RV camping site just short of Big Lake Youth Resort. There's apparently somebody there who's doing trail magic this weekend. Yeah, I think hands down, this is the prettiest section of Oregon so far. We're here climbing up below Three-Fingered Jack, which I think is an amazing name for a mountain. Sometimes I think whoever names these places along the trail just runs out of creative energy. For instance, there's been like 3 Milk Creeks so far, which I presume been because the water's been kind of cloudy. I've never had the privilege of naming this mountain Three-Fingered Jack. I think they should name some more things. But there's some really beautiful big red striations in the rock. Geologically, I have no idea why that happened, but it's very, very pretty. Looks almost like it's painted. So today has been almost entirely exposed hiking. So you can see, probably a little bit in the background here, it's just dead trees. It's been like that for 80% of the day, so probably I think I'm about 26, 27 miles in. So probably 23, 24 miles of just completely exposed hiking. It's hot, it's like 80 degrees. Maybe it's not insanely humid, but my God, I'm struggling with the heat probably more today than any other day of the trail. I think it's just having no respite from the sun. Fortunately, I'm like maybe a mile from a road, and then it's 2 more miles to a small pond beyond that where I'll be able to get some more water. I have just a little bit left, just trying to conserve it in case I get really, really hot. But this is something you got to be careful with on trail. I might have slightly underestimated how much water I would need. I'm on a 12-mile carry, so 12 miles without water. I guess it's probably about 10 miles ago when I got some. Definitely things you need to be careful about. I'll be fine. after I get that water, should be a short little stretch to a place where I got confirmation from a northbound hiker that I believe a couple has trail magic set up for us. Here we stumbled upon a very significant landmark for northbound hikers, the 2,000-mile mark. So drinking pond water isn't my favorite thing in the world because it's kind of warm. Still has a little bit of a taste to it, like kind of like there's something in it, like it's living. But that's all the filter's for, and I haven't gotten sick yet, and it's our only option in this area, so it's not too bad. It tastes better than no water. You just gotta love this kind of thing.
Good luck rolling that.
I know, then it would be like at this point.
She doesn't like pictures.
I was trying to get one.
Yeah.
Just leaving Trail Magic here. I got here last night at 6 p.m. and now only leaving at about 8 a.m. the next day. Incredibly nice people. A couple. The wife has previously just done a section hike and really enjoys the PCT and the culture. And the husband's a pilot, and they like to go around in their camper and do trail magic for the hikers each year. But they had beer, soda, tons of food. He made burgers and hot dogs for us and made us breakfast burritos this morning. It was awesome. So we already had one breakfast. We're now going for our second breakfast at the youth camp down the road. Yeah, you can just load up.
Yeah.
So we're here at Big Lake Youth Camp, which allows hikers to use their designated hiker facility, which has showers, a common area to hang out, and laundry. And look at this, shout out to all the Camp Bader people, Gaga Ball Court. I'm sure we're not allowed to join, but just a fun thing to see, common ground. We got our little breakfast buffet sitting up. Can't be rats.
But I lost in Washington.
Yeah, you can probably train your.
This is the check-in at Big Lake Youth Camp, and I love that they specify your real name. Cool idea here. You can see that hikers come from literally all over the world. I think it's just having the Camp Bader background, but I always love checking out different summer camps, see what kind of facilities they have and where they're located. This one has a lot of cool little lodges, lots of little A-frames. It's right on the lake. I love seeing the Gaga Golf Court. Heading out. 15 miles without water, carrying about 3 liters.